Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1. And my God, the Red Bull Ring is the circuit that keeps on giving. Back-to-back banger races here. So, if you haven't seen the F3 video from earlier this morning, we had an incredible F3 feature race. The sprint race in the F1 yesterday, absolutely incredible. You know what? Thought maybe the F2 won't live up to the hype here for the feature race. But wow! They did. We might have had the best F3 race of the season and the best F2 race of the season within an hour of each other. Incredible stuff. But let's start with the F2 sprint race, which was yesterday. It was Crawford on pole with Daruvula alongside. Now, our four championship contenders, Pourchaire, Vesti, Iwassa and Behrman. Pourchaire was 8th, Vesti 9th, Iwassa 16th, Behrman 19th. Both Iwassa and Behrman struggling with the track limits. Lots of times deleted. Wasn't a great qualifying for them. It finished raining just before the start of the race. So we had a big mix of wet and dry tyres across the entire grid. You had the likes of Pourchaire and Vesti who were starting on the wets. I think it was Crawford and Daruvula who were on the dries. It was a fantastic start for Theo Pourchaire, though. I can't say his name. Theo Pourchaire, though, on the wet tyres, starting in 8th, was up in 3rd place by the 3rd corner of the race. Those who started on the wet tyres had a fantastic getaway. Leclerc enters the lead on the wet tyres against Crawford's dry tyres. Daruvula was off. He had a crash. This brings out the safety car. And the top three at that time were Leclerc, Pourchaire, followed by Vesti. Behind the safety car, you had likes Pourchaire, Vesti, Behrman, all pit for the dry tyres. They start on the wet, basically instantly pit for the dries. Leclerc stays out on the wets. Safety car ends. Verschoor crashes basically instantly after the safety car on lap 5. This brings out another safety car. This is when Leclerc and Iwassa, they both pit for the slick tyres. You have Zane Maloney, who started 15th, is now up into 3rd place. The restart happens, madness everywhere. Everyone's attacking everyone, but it keeps pretty clean. Verstappen, he's not in this race. Behrman, though, he's now up into the top 10 after starting 19th. You have Isaac Hadjar, he started 21st, he's now 4th. Behrman up into the points after making some overtakes. Novalak goes round the outside of Isaac Hadjar for P4, that's on lap 13, and Victor Martins gets up into P2. Novalak and Hadjar get past, I don't even know what I've written there. They got past someone for P3. Fittipaldi has a crash. This brings out the VSC. He was pushed onto the grass by Kush Miney, spins it round, comes along the straight, stalls the car, can't restart. That brings out the virtual safety car, sorry. There's a 5-second penalty for Theo Pourchaire for an unsafe pit release. On lap 24 of 27, Isaac Hadjar gets past, no, it wasn't Hadjar, it was Dennis Hauger, gets past Ollie Behrman for the final points position. That brings an end to the sprint race, which Crawford wins from Martins, from Novalak in 3rd. But later on, Novalak would get disqualified due to rear tyre pressure, and he would be replaced on the podium by Isaac Hadjar, and everyone else get moved a point, including Ollie Behrman, who went from 9th to 8th, meaning he'd get 1 point in the sprint race, meaning that out of our 4 contenders for the championship, Ollie Behrman was the only one to score points in the sprint race. Moving on now, though, it's the F2 feature race. My goodness, it's Victor Martins on pole from Frederic Vesti in 2nd place. And our championship contenders, let's have a quick run through where they are. Pourchaire is starting 3rd, Iwassa in 16th, Behrman 19th, and as I said, Vesti on the front row in 2nd place. Victor Martins, though, on pole. Awful start for him. Awful start as both Vesti and Pourchaire get past him. Miney and Doohan also get past Martins within the first couple laps. Martins goes from 1st place, pole position, to 5th within 2 laps. Further back down the grid, Iwassa has a fantastic double overtake for P9. After it was Cordial and Hauger who were battling each other. Iwassa just turns up, overtakes them both. That was on lap 6. Victor Martins gets past back past Miney for P5 on lap 8. Miney pits, as does the likes of Pourchaire, Deruvala, Nissany, Novalak. That's on lap 9. On lap 10, Vesti also comes into the pits. They're starting on the soft tyres, going on to the hard tyres. There's a fantastic battle between Dennis Hauger and Roy Nissany on lap 15. But Pourchaire, Doohan and Vesti are making their way through now. These guys who are on the alternative strategy, going long on their first set of tyres, these guys are coming through now. Just going through all the guys who haven't pitted. On lap 20, we have Vesti in 7th, Pourchaire 9th, Doohan 10th. Behrman is able to get past Stanek on lap 21. Then we get a 5-second penalty for Dennis Hauger because he crossed the pit entry line. Now, as I said in my F1 sprint video yesterday, I think the design of this is ridiculous. And not only ridiculous, but dangerous. And I'm not surprised that he went over the line. And, you know, we have someone like Leclerc doing that, impeding on Piastri. I mean, that's the line. The line should start a lot later, I feel. I think the pit entry line is one corner too early because you have to slow down that corner. But then that corner is also the racing line, so it's just asking for trouble. But there you go. Whatever. There's also a 5-second penalty for Cush Miney for track limits. And then there is a second penalty for Cush Miney for track limits. We get a battle now between Pourchaire and Doohan for what is net P2, and Doohan is able to get through. There is a 5-second time penalty for Verschoor for track limits, but then later on, this gets cancelled, which is good for him. We get Leclerc and Behrman into the pit on lap 29. Leclerc, though, his pit stop wasn't a great one. Not only was it slow, but the right rear tyre wasn't attached to the car. So as he keeps on going, the wheel falls off. This brings out the virtual safety car, which means that people cannot pit, but then that turns into a full-on safety car. This is where the likes of Richard Verschoor and Iwassa take the opportunity to come into the pits, but the race leader, Fittipaldi, did not pit until a lap later when he'd already caught the safety car and had slowed down massively. So the race leader, who if he'd pitted a little bit earlier would have had continued to have the race lead and probably would have won the race, actually went from P1 to P9. So behind the safety car now with 10 laps to go, it is Frederik Vesti leading the race, with Jack Doohan behind him. Then it's Théo Pourchaire, Victor Martins in 4th, Richard Verschoor in 5th on the new faster tyres, with Iwassa right behind him in 6th. Maloney's then behind them, then Nissany, then Fittipaldi, who should be leading the race, is in 9th, and Brad Benavides completes the top 10 with Ollie Behrman in 11th. Now, off the safety car restart, we have Verschoor, Iwassa and Fittipaldi and Behrman all making up massive places into the top 10 on the much faster tyres. Verschoor is up to 3rd on lap 33. Iwassa passes Pourchaire on lap 34 for P4. This is when Miney goes off and there's a virtual safety car which lasted forever. I was watching this like, please, just let them race. We have this incredible race on our hands here, and we're ruining it with this virtual safety car. But once it had ended, well, actually, behind the virtual safety car, we get the amount of positions gained by everyone. At this point, Verschoor had gained 8, Iwassa and Behrman had gained 12 positions from their starting places. So, with 4 laps to go, the virtual safety car comes to an end, and my goodness. Behrman passes Martins for P6. Fittipaldi passes Martins for P7. Behrman passes Pourchaire for P5. Verschoor passes Doohan for P2. Iwassa then passes Doohan for P3. On the second to last lap, Verschoor passes Vesti to take the lead of the race. Then Vesti is instantly passed by Iwassa to take P2 round the outside. And we go on to the final lap, finishing the race. Verschoor wins, taking the lead on the penultimate lap. Iwassa comes home in 2nd. Then it's Vesti in 3rd, Doohan 4th, Behrman 5th, Fittipaldi 6th, Pourchaire 7th, Crawford 8th, Martins 9th, and then it was, I don't know who I've written down there for 10. I don't know. I can't read my own writing. I'm so sorry, everyone. I don't know. I'll have to look it up later. But, wow. What an incredible ending to that race. Let's see if I can... It was Deruvala. I thought it was Deruvala in P10. Oh, my God. what an incredible race, an incredible last few laps as well. The guys who started on the alternative strategy, the slower strategy, being helped out by the safety car. Some fantastic overtaking there. In terms of the championship, this is great news for Iwassa, who's been a bit more anonymous in the last few races. He's the highest finisher of the top four in the championship. Then Vesti in third, Behrman in fifth, Pourchaire only coming home in seventh. Fittipaldi, who really had a huge chance of winning this race, comes home in sixth. And Victor Martins, who started on pole, having to finish in ninth. Wow, though. Wow. I've been saying all year that F2 is the best of the Formula Racing series this season, and it's just another banger from the F2 lads. But we've had banger after banger after banger this weekend, with only one race left to go. The Formula 1 race will be starting in about 4 hours. I have no idea why the F2 and F3 are on so early, and there's a 4-hour gap to the F1. Why not put them a bit back? I could have stayed in bed. Unbelievable stuff. But there you go. We haven't got many F2 and F3 races left. We've got Silverstone up next, then Hungary, then Spa. Then I think we've got Zandvoort and Monza. Then there's that huge gap. Then they finish off in Abu Dhabi. But yeah, incredible stuff. About the halfway point of the season. It's still anyone's game. It really is. I mean, Vesti looks strong today, but Iwassa came through. Behrman is looking better all the time. Pourchaire is still there, of course. He's P2 in the championship. Wow, it's great stuff. If you're not watching F2, you've got to get into it. You've got to tell your friends to watch the F2. It's a wonderful time. So that is all we got time for today for the F2. Oh, I haven't said my star of F2. I should really give it to Verschoor because he did do very well. But I don't know. Who was the one that excited me the most? Well, Behrman always excites me, but I think I might give it to Iwassa because I think he did a lot of overtaking, a lot of impressive overtaking as well. So Iwassa gets the star of F2. It was very close to us. There were about 5 guys who could have got it. Iwassa is the star of F2. It's good to see him get a good result under his belt again. It feels like it's been a while for him. Hopefully he's back into this and back into the championship. Rounding up towards the end of the season. Great stuff. Right, we're back for one more video today, which will be the F1 roundup later on today for what will hopefully be an incredible, incredible race. I will see you then. Until then, have a lovely Sunday. Goodbye.